How's it going, guys? I'm gonna make a really funny title for this video. It's probably gonna be titled "How does a bot like me gets wins and the 5 rules that I follow in order to get more wins." I did notice that because of the new update in regards to skill-based matchmaking, it's very hard to get wins now. Very, very hard, and especially because of lack of movement. Everybody's kind of moving together to the next circle, so a lot of third partying going on. And you just don't have time to heal up and engage into multiple fights anymore. Especially, you can run out of mats, you can run out of ammo, you can run out of healing. So, it got really difficult into, making it to the last circle and just kind of be able to compete for that victory royale that everybody loves to see. So here are my 5 rules that I follow. I do think they work very, very well for me. I still try to win at least 1 out of 10 games. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's still a good percentage I consider if you play your game smart. So rule number 1, very simple, but very, very crucial. Make sure your teammate has a microphone. I cannot stress enough how just any game, any multiplayer game, if you rely on your teammates, you want to make sure you're able to communicate, because it can make a whole lot of difference if your teammate just makes one call out. Either he drops you a mini, or he says, "Oh, there's a guy behind the corner." Just simple stuff like that. It makes the game much more enjoyable. It makes the game much more fun. It makes the game much more easier to play, and you can find friends online. I have a lot of friends that I met through Xbox or through playing Fortnite. So definitely don't waste any time if you and don't be one of those people without a microphone as well. It's not that expensive to buy. That's going to be rule number 1, probably the most important rule. Rule number 2 is an interesting one. I always kind of like, when I get with the random players, I always trying to land not a hotspot. By not a hotspot, I mean like not landing with like 30 people in one house. 90% of the time I die within 2 seconds. Either the guy gets a gun before me, or there's just like 10 people, like pickaxing me, or my teammate just dies, and then it becomes like a mission, save Pride Ryan, or and you get a lot of those players who just think they're a Tifu, or like Mongrel. They just think they're so good, and they just land and they just die. They just literally die within 2 seconds, and they don't even wait for you to revive them. Even if you're by miracle able to kill everybody, they just quit because they think they're so good. And I get so annoyed. I'm like, why are you playing random duos and you're being such an asshole? And it's very frustrating. So definitely don't let hotspots. Now, I'm not telling you to land in the middle of nowhere. That's not fun either. But just kind of play smart. Land, mediocre spots with like at least, 2 or 3 teams is fine. 2 or 3 teams is fine. I think it's a good drop. Now, rule number 3, I think it comes from experience. Just kind of like testing your skills is probably going to be called knowing when to push people. That skill is probably for like any game, applies to any game. Is when do you push people? And if you see professionals, they have really good sense of when the enemy is weak, when they don't know what's happening, their skill level, just because their movement, their building, and they try to push if they see an advantage. And my kind of thought process, if I see people, and you can tell they're pretty good, and kind of my joke is that if I see them using pyramids, I'm not pushing them. But if I get a lucky snipe, I can tell there's one person, or he's out of mats. Obviously you want to take those easy kills, and of course there's no reason not to push them. But if there's a good team, and you have a high chances of getting third party after, I don't think it's worth it. Especially if you're using the strategy right away. You're not landing hot spots, you already don't have a lot of kills, especially in chapter 2, there's not a lot of movement. So already you're not getting a high kill game. Skill-based matchmaking makes it that it's even more difficult to get a high kill game. So I don't think it's worth it. I think Fortnite is kind of telling you that play for the victory royale. That's kind of the objective. So, you know, that's going to be my rule number 3. And then my rule number 4, you know, kind of relates to rule number 1. You know, communication with your teammate. You know, play smart with your teammate. Play together.
I just like
know what you're doing. You know, like so many times I'll be like, "Hey, I'm going to the next circle," and my teammate is trying to snipe. There's like, you know, 10 people fight, and then he gets sniped as usual. And you know, then it puts me in a situation I don't know what to do. Should I save them or should I just go to the next circle and just not fun to play? So, you know, definitely play together, play as a team. You know, you make sure you know what you're doing, and if you're dying, you know, at least you're dying together, and you know, at least you're pushing together. So you already have the highest level of chances of winning that fight. And that kind of brings me to rule number 5. And you know, this is probably difficult for me. It's just because I play on the controller, so my movement to the next zone and ability to cover myself is not very good. And you can see high level players, they're very good at that stuff. They're really good at tunneling, they're really good at moving next circle and just kind of using that material to cover themselves. Definitely a skill that I need to work on, especially the edits, just ability to quickly, you know, move, cover yourself, you know, from all the sides, and that kind of creates an issue for me. So for me, moving to the next circle and just being aware, where is the next circle, how many seconds do I have, and you know, I prefer to move last. You know, that really depends. You know, some people want to be first in the zone. I kind of like see that if you're first in the zone, you kind of get pressured the most, and you're just having a hard time, you know, fighting everybody off. And especially if you're fighting a really good team, you know, really good team, doesn't matter how good you are. You know, it's just hard, especially if you have a good position. It's very frustrating. There's so many times I'm like, you know, have really good position, just a really good team just destroys me. So I like to push by my, like, kind of like almost being last in the circle, just because you don't get as much attention. Some people might argue that you actually get more attention because a lot of people, you know, look at the circle, so everybody's going to be shooting you. But my thought process is that, you know, most of the time these people will be fighting people in the zone, so they'll be kind of weak. And that's kind of your objective. If you want to win more games, you kind of have to utilize the fact that they're getting weak, and you don't want to be the main focus. Like, in order to win in these games, and in order to do well, you don't want to be the main focus. You know, you see a lot of these streamers, the reason why I complain about stream sniping is because they become a main focus, so that it's hard for them to play. Like, they really struggle, they waste a lot of mass to cover themselves because, like, you know, the whole lobby is just shooting them. So it definitely makes it very difficult to win games if you're the main focus, and you kind of always want to be third party. I know a lot of people might be skeptical about that, but you do want a third party most of the time. And that's it, guys. That's my simple video, my simple 5 rules that I follow in order to win my games. If you guys want to play a couple games together, send me an invite. Not a big deal, and cue the music. Let's see that last kill. Cheers, guys. Please subscribe as well.